All right. I want to talk a little bit about Texas at Vanderbilt because I think it's interesting. I had this question from my editor at Fox Sports, great man named Sean. Really love him. The question was, what do we think about Quinn Ewers being named the starter going into their now ranked matchup at Vanderbilt? Hook them up or get anchored down, baby, because Vanderbilt is done being your bottom dweller. Vanderbilt has come to fist fight, and I'm about it. I love this so much. Now, a game that felt like it was just going to be a glorified FCS contest at the start of the season is a real live football game where Vanderbilt can win. And Texas has the opportunity to do something really funny, which is be the number one ranked team, lose to Georgia, and then lose to Vanderbilt back-to-back weeks. Be hard to justify Texas as one of the 12 best teams in the sport with a loss to Vanderbilt because they ain't got the wins on their resume that say Georgia does. Georgia's got 2 top 10 wins on its resume. They can lose another game. They're still going to get in. Texas is beating Oklahoma and Michigan, and they sorry. They real sorry. Vanderbilt is a better win for Texas than Oklahoma and Michigan. Talk about living in the twilight zone. Try telling that to yourself even 5 years ago. Now try telling it to yourself 20 years ago. Self would be like, you crazy. Is that what happens to us? Do we go senile early? Is that what happens? Because that's not a thing. Texas beats Oklahoma and Michigan, but they're looking forward to trying to beat Vanderbilt because that's the better win? Nah, man, that don't wash. And yet, that's what it is. So we're seeing Quinn Ewers is going to be the starter, as he was the starter at the start of the game against Georgia. Vandy's ranked. Vandy moves. But what will Texas do? To which my response is, move or die. Move or die. 2018 National Championship game. It was clear to Brian Dable and Nick Saban that Jalen Hurts is the more mobile and athletic quarterback and the starter for most of the year, right? He needed to play the game against SEC, in the SEC championship game, and he helped them win it because he's mobile. He can move around. He's also, built like an edge rusher. It helps. But against Georgia, the one thing that they could take advantage of and they could exploit was their speed on the perimeter. And that means you got to be able to throw deep balls. And you got to be able to throw them deep and on time and where Devontae Smith can catch them. And that was not in Jalen Hurts' game at the time. Specifically throwing deep to the left. The pass that Tua Tagovailoa made to Devontae Smith to win that game against Georgia National Championship game? Yeah, that's why they gave him the hook. You go away from the mobile quarterback to the guy that can throw the better deep ball. And spoilers, they win the national championship. 2021 edition of OU Texas. Okay? Lincoln Riley pulls a seasoned starter in Spencer Rattler for the more explosive and athletic Caleb Williams. At the time, OU trailed Texas 35-17. That worked too, right? That worked too. Oklahoma comes back to beat Texas 55-48. And this is year one of Steve Sarkisian. Never mind that Steve Sarkisian was the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator in 2018, where, they played the national championship game too. Probably saw what Nick Saban had done there, logged that away. Then his year one at Texas, he sees Lincoln Riley pull the damn true freshman out and go beat him. Come back from 35-17 to go get a victory in the Cotton Bowl. Probably put that one away too. Move or die. So Steve Sarkisian sees all this unfold, probably putting it away, knowing that he's one of the 3 best play callers in the sport. And they're down bad at home to Georgia. They cannot move the football. And one of the reasons they can't move the football is Quinn Ewers stuck in the mud back there. Now, you can make an argument to me that Arch Manning is as talented a deep ball thrower as Quinn Ewers, but you will not make an argument to me that Arch Manning isn't the more athletic quarterback of the two. So you're going to go do that. You're going to try to put Arch in there to give the offense something like somebody who can move around, if only for this matter, because you need to fix this problem. You need a solution, right? So you're going to try it. You're going to throw out a guy who looks every bit like he's going to be the starter and every bit like he can be the starter, but he's just not as good at recognizing what he sees as Quinn Ewers. You could also make the argument to me that pocket awareness wasn't all there for Quinn Ewers. Okay, cool, that needs to improve, but saying pocket awareness needs to improve against Georgia's front seven is saying move or die. He couldn't move. He couldn't see it. He couldn't step up into it. It wasn't there. I want to say that Jalen Walker and Mykel Williams, they had something to do with that. You know what I'm saying? They kind of make it hard for you to want to move up into the pocket. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the only person that sees 6'4", 260 and say, you know what, I might not want none of that. Maybe I want to wait for somebody to try to run into the open. Okay? Didn't happen. But he made the move, right? It didn't work. Comes back with Quinn Ewers. They put some points on the board. They ultimately lose the football game. But now we're having this conversation about, like, when Arch Manning's time is going to come and whether or not Arch Manning's going to be the starter at the end of the season. Nah. You saw what it looked like. Turns out Jalen Walker's going to run down Arch Manning too, because that's what happened. It didn't matter that Arch Manning was more athletic and faster than Quinn Ewers. It mattered that Jalen Walker was going to run down anybody you put back there on that day. That was him. That was all him. That was the Kirby Smart defense doing what the Kirby Smart defense does. I don't understand why we're still having that conversation, but you know what? It is a question that was given to me, and I wanted to take it on. And seeing as it's a question given to me by a smart man about college football, I figured that the rest of y'all would want some sort of explanation for that too. And even as I say this, I can already hear people going, well, Arch is still going to be the starter at the end. Maybe, but I doubt it. Certainly not going to be the starter against Vandy. So short of a Quinn Ewers injury, I don't expect to see Arch Manning much at all the rest of the season.